Hello racing fans and a warm welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for the 9th of December. It's Saturday and where we at? Well, we're in Vereeniging. We're at the Vaal and it's one of what I'd call the signature race days on the South African racing calendar because we don't see anything like this throughout the season where 25 horses are carded. Unfortunately, we have two scratchings this year. And it is the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage. It is World Sports Betting's race day, so we wish them all the best. It's a 9-race card, and with sizable fields in a few of the races, I think the exotics should pay well. It's all about structure. Race number 2 will start off the bar pot. That's at 12:50. And if you want to get involved in the Pick 6, the big one, you'll need to get your bets on by 1400 hours, which is race number 4. As always, we welcome Alistair Cohen into the studio. He's online, obviously. And with this 9-race card, I haven't spoken to Alistair for a while. I've been off for a few days. But Alistair, how's things your way?
Yeah, Dee, it's good to chat to you again. I trust all has been good with what you've been up to and that you've enjoyed the break, despite the heat where you've been. Life is good, Dees. Obviously, we had our first grade 1 here in the Cape over the weekend, which was won by Beach Bomb, and now it's 1-2 for the Drakenstein stud. But leading into this meeting, you spot on it today with a difference. It's probably the hardest race meeting to call because, well, 23 horses is a good deal better than 28, but I've called my good few World Sports Betting Grand Heritages. They're great days out for anyone that's around the Halfveld with nothing going on. I highly recommend getting to the Vaal. They put on a good show out there. I think the only person who's not a fan of it is the person calling the race. But other than that, yeah, it's tricky. It's never going to be easy. I think the biggest curveball for punters is that this is open gates. There's no false rail. There should be no bias in the track because there's no rail put up in the middle of the track helping horses on the outside or the inside, depending on how the track is configured. There's a lot of Vaal racetrack to work with. And, when it comes to race 1, as you mentioned, not part of the exotics, that's where you're probably going to get your biggest clue of the day of how things are going to work out.
And I'm hoping we're on the same frequency, Alistair, throughout the show because I've had a good look at the card and I like a few horses. I think if things work out, there are some horses in the respective races to come that look the part, but hopefully we can try and agree on that. Well, if we disagree, then hopefully we can try and find the exactors and swingers. But race number 1 is the WSB Welcomes You Maiden Plate. As I mentioned, it's their race day. It's 1,200 meters. And as always, we'll give you the horses in single figures, proudly brought to you by Hollywoodbets with the anti-post betting market, if there are any. Number 1 is at 7-1. 2 at 28-10, 7 at 6-1. 11 has drifted out. I took down the betting of 11, Alistair, because I thought that this may be a lurker. 8-1 out to 12-1. And then the horse that's been supported on Hollywood Bets, number 12, Sabre Strike, the first timer from the Lucky Hudalaka stable, opened up 28-10, and that's been grabbed, snapped up 16-10. Well, the only thing I can tell you is when I saw the betting for this individual, I just looked up the pedigree, Alistair, and the one sibling that possibly stands out is Captain of Stealth. So Vaughan Marshall has missed out on this individual, but it could be Lucky Hudalakas.
There are a number of reasons why this horse makes some appeal, and I think there's also a number of reasons why you kind of scratch your head. You can almost see why the mare would have gone to William Longsword to dangle a carrot in front of Vaughan Marshall, who was very successful with Captain of Stealth. He started his career, I'm just looking up his record now, started his career with 2 wins. He looked the part. He won by a combined distance of 12 lengths in his first 2 starts. They went straight into pinnacle level, but there was also a setback. He was off for a year and a half after his first 2 runs, and that just took the wind out of his sails. But he once upon a time ran We beat Russian Rock, who went on to win the Cape Guineas. In fact, that was after Russian Rock won the Cape Guineas. He ran to the likes of Bulgarian. He ran to the likes of Tripper Fortune, Captain's Ransom, Charles Dickens. His run to Captain's Ransom beat him 3 lengths. That just showed the quality of Captain of Stealth. So the breeder Peter van Squer, who obviously retained the son of William Longsword, I'm sure would have at the time had some sort of hopes that it would allure to Vaughan Marshall and connections, but ultimately it stuck with Lucky Hudalakis. I'm not surprised there's money for a first time in this race, because it doesn't look like a race that's packed with any budding Grade 1 winners. The best form on offer is clearly with number 2 Secret Chord. St. John Gray and Muzi Yeni take the ride. ran out of racetrack, I believe, last time when getting held off by Ethernator. I think the extra 200 metres is bound to suit number 2, Secret Chord. But again, it won't take much for a first-timer, i.e. number 12, Sabre Strike, to finish in front of him. There's a bit of value in this race. I'd like to see him come back to form, but I think he might. That's number 3, There's a Light. Jeffrey Saister rides for Roy Magna. I remember seeing him on his first run. He's a lovely-looking son of Kurari. He looked a little bit weak then, but his form has completely tapered off for one reason or another. I think if in a race of this nature, if There's a Light can bounce back to his first run, he's dangerous. Obviously, his last 2 runs probably wouldn't put him in the picture, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll run better here. I don't know if he'll win, but in quartets, he could be the moneymaker. So, the support on 12, eye-catching, no surprise. 2, the horse to beat on form. 3, the value in race 1.
Yeah, and I just want to give a mention to 11 because I just suspect that Gavin may have suggested if you find a race and I'm available over 1,200 meters, I'm going to go for you. A Rock of Bismantova, number 11. So no money, 8-1 out to 12-1, but that is my roughie in the race. But I think Alistair could be spot on. The race could be tailor-made for a first-timer to win. And if you want to follow the money early, follow number 12, Sabre Strike. Race number 2, Byport Time. Need to get that bet on at 12.50. It's over 1,200 meters. It's a maiden plate. How are they betting here, Alistair? Well, number 1 is at 8-1. Number 2 at 9-2. 4 at 7-2. And then we go on to, I think it's number 16. Yes, it is. 16 at 7-2. A Red Knot. Then there is anti-post market on Hollywood Bets for a long shot here. TikTok edition from 33-1. That has shortened into 20-1. Alistair, I'm big on this horse here. I call French Duchess. I'll tell you why, because I noticed that her last start, which I watched very closely, having followed her as a young horse, she looked like she needed it badly. But more importantly, and I'm sure you'd have done your homework as well, but I'll just read it out for the viewers. The strength of that form line is super impressive. The second place horse, Phantom Express, has come out to win. Third horse, Lady Crusade, has run 3rd and 1. Women of Fame has come out to win. That was 4th. 5th in that race was Spirited Girl. That has come out to win. And although she was beaten 7 lengths, that is a maiden form line to follow up in Gauteng, and I think there's plenty more to come. I like her a lot here, Alistair, number 4, French Duchess.
Yeah, I like her a lot too, Dees. You took my reasoning with French Duchess straight out of my mouth with this daughter Trippy. She's closely related to Trip of Fortune as French Duchess, being a daughter of Trippy out of a Duke of Marmalade mare. The mother Duchess of Paris, I think, is a sister to the dam of Trip of Fortune. I think that's how the family tree works. So I'd anticipate that she'll be better with the run under the belt. I anticipate that although 1,200 meters may ultimately be a little bit on the short side, that she will appreciate the slight step up to 1,200 meters. From 1160 to 1,200 meters, probably all academic, but I still think that is a step in the right direction. It's extra few steps in the race. I think she's got more scope to improve than the likes of Arctic Commander, Sugary Sweet, someday maybe horses who make some sort of appeal on form, but clearly, have had their chances and will need the right race when they eventually get out the maidens. So there's a lot to like. And she's even got Out the Mist Held. This was Woman of Fame, of course, ran on Thursday at the Vaal. She didn't run too badly either. So there's another reason to think number 4, French Duchess, has a chance, because there was 4 lengths in it between Woman of Fame and French Duchess when they met on Allied Steel Road on a Mission Charity Mile. There, Richard Faree takes a ride. He sticks with his daughter Trippy. The most interesting runner in this race, though, is the other Drakenstein horse down the page, trained by Alson and Zelana. And that's number 16, Red Knot. Go watch that rerun again. No luck in running for this daughter of Gold Standard. I always get a little bit worried when a first-timer runs like that they ran more out of fright than flight. So that might be a little bit of a hindrance for the daughter of Gold Standard, but Gavin Lorena now takes over for Alson. That's interesting. Her work that she did over the final 400 meters was very eye-catching. She had no luck in running. And with a clearer run, she may have well got right into the mix. So I wouldn't chance it in the bar pot. I'll go with both Drakenstein horses in order of preference, 4 and 16. Top choice is number 4, French Duchess, but if 16, Red Knot, has a bit more luck in running and has learned something from the first run, she'll be very dangerous.
Okay, I'm going to sum this up. Is between AC and DD. It is strike one, number 4, French Duchess. I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm going to throw a few horses at Alistair, and if we agree, I think it could turn out to be a wonderful day. A wonderful day, because I think that horse is worth a go there in race number 2. That's called French Duchess. Alistair just playing with cover there, and I agree that on that debut run, you'll never know what's to come on number 16, Red Knot. Third race, place accumulator, 13.25, 1,200 meters the distance. Number 1 at 8-1, number 3 at 4-1, number 5 at 6-1, and then we move along to a Hollywoodbet anti-post market mover, number 9, Duke of Rock, from 7-1, shortened into 5-1. Please note that number 12 is a scratching, and it is double figures the balance. Place accumulator, Alistair, how many horses?
Well, I must confess, my suggested bet on this day is a double. I've sidestepped exotics because it's a bit complex, this card, and here's a reason. This is one of the races why I'm a bit in a quandary with this meeting, because when I was looking at just the name before I went into the form, I said, there's Fish Eagle, I'm waiting for Fish Eagle. With Richard Ferry on board, I'm going to have a go on Fish Eagle. And then I looked closer and I said, what on earth is he doing over 1,200 meters on the back of his last run? But when you look at his last run that closely and his overall record over 1,200 meters, it's not bad. He won his maiden over 1,200 meters at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the poly, beating Victor Rail. And since then, he's taken a bit of time to turn it around. Obviously, for me, Clinton Binder, closely followed by Louis Goosen, probably the 2 most informed trainers in the country right now. They're trading at incredible percentages. So that's got to be a big lift for number 10, Fish Eagle's chances. But I'm battling to work out why he's dropping in distance just 11 days later. He showed enough pace last time. He ran out of puff last time behind Hotter Ruby, who's a progressive 3-year-old. But his most recent one came over 1,800. He's a son of Rafif, so that would be a tick in the sprinting box. But out of a Canford Cliffs mare, I remember the mother, Fish River. She was the first Canford Cliffs to come here. She was owned by Jessica Slack's Maritzfontein, and she earned black type, I think in the first leg of the Wilgerbos Drift Triple Tiara, if not the second leg, if not both. So from that point of view, I can see why he's effective over slightly further. So I'm talking myself in and out of number 10, Fish Eagle. He's my top choice because I believe the price is wrong, because I believe that pound for pound, he's better than everyone else in this race. But I'm just having a tough time working out why he's going back to 1,200 meters. If he fluffs his lines, there's no shortage of horses who could do a bit of damage here. I think this horse number 2, Super Agra, could be well set up. I think the 4-kilo claim with a slight rating drop, considering where he's been in the past, number 2, Super Agra, that could represent a little bit of value in the race. There's no reason to leave out 3 Little Miss Moneybags, 5 Water Tiger, 6 Here With Me. They're all got to be horses on the radar. 14 Jet Cat, of course, Heinrich van der Westhuizen and Wesley Mowing finished off at the Vaal on Thursday with a winner. So all those horses have to be thrown into the pot. But for me, the dynamics revolve around number 10, Fish Eagle here.
I think reading in between the lines what Alistair is saying, regardless of the result, the top 3 past the post, if you're playing a place accumulator, you're certain to drop tickets because they're going to be well spread out here in this merit-rated 75 handicap over 1,200 meters, and you'll need to get that PA bet on by 12.25. So we move on to the big one, which is race number 4, and this pick 6 should attract a sizable pool on the day, because of the nature of the race being the Grand Heritage, sponsored by World Sports Betting, the size of the field, and of course, punters love to say, I caught the pick 6 on this type of race day. So I suspect we could get a sizable pool. Pinnacle Stakes, 1,000 meters, 1,400 hours, 2 o'clock sharp. Number 1 is a scratching, Alistair. So I'm not going to read out the betting because I haven't taken down the adjustments. I only took down that scratching early this morning of number 1, Sheldon. So we're not going to do the betting here. But again, I'm hoping it's strike 2. If it's not, well, I'll take it. But I actually am grown in confidence now that Sheldon is out with number 3, Captain Hindsight. And, the horses had 7 starts for 7 runs for the new stable of Tony Peter. And he's just got a remarkable record, which has seen his hike in his rating from an 82 right up to a 110. So credit to the horse as a 7-year-old, credit to the trainer, And of course, if he wins this, I'm just looking at the stake, Ali, 109,000. He'll be the next equine millionaire if he has to win this. I like him a lot against this type of field. I know these sprint races can, it all depends on how things map out, because the fastest horse from point A to point B will win the race on the day. And I'm hoping that he is the fastest horse. Number 3.
Yeah, Dees, I like him too, Captain Hansard. When you consider that Dye stepped up and won the Johannesburg Merchants and the style that he did on Betway Summer Cup Day, 3 Captain Hansard's very hard to look past.
Thankfully, Ali, thankfully he won that. Thankfully, thankfully.
Oh, I know, with the scratching, oh my word, that would have been chaos. It would have been chaos. But Dance didn't let the team down. In fact, in my opinion, had the favourite been there, he would have had to been at his absolute best to have beaten Dice in that type of mood. When you look closely at collateral form, Mover and Shaker actually has the edge over Captain Hansard in their run on the 5th of August. So that's an interesting aspect, but that's obviously made light by the fact that James De Harbour's got the 4-kilo claim, and I'm very impressed with how James has started his career. If he keeps a level head, he'll make a good career out of being a jockey, because he's well balanced. He's obviously listens to instructions. He doesn't seem to feel pressure, but he's riding for yards who aren't afraid to turn the taps on jockeys. So number 2, Mover and Shaker, I have respect for. But when you consider that Captain Hansard, as you say, has done what he's done with Tony Peter, now a 10-time winner, a win away from being an equine millionaire. Remember how forward he was as a 2-year-old. Probably the handicapper got the better of him, needed a bit of confidence, got the confidence, and his rating shot back up again. So although I make it the 2 horses in the pick 6, 2 Mover and Shaker and the 3 Captain Hansard, there's no doubt who the horse to beat is in this race. I think number 3 Captain Hansard is tailor-made for this type of race. He loves the Vaal. He's at 6 of his 10 career wins at this course as well. So he was based here for much of his career, when under the care of Ashley Fortune. So hard to look past the chances of the son of Captain of all these.
Loving it. ACDC, strike 2, race number 4, number 3, Captain Hindsight. Let's move along to race number 5. It's a graduation plate over 1,700 meters. How they're betting here: number 2 at 8-1, 3 at 5-1, 5 at 5-2, 6 at 5-2, can't split them, 7 at 33-10, and then it is 10-1 and better to balance. Alistair, I'm just going to kick off by having a look at this best weighted column, which is topped by Rennie. And if you're a believer in her rating, which was given a push of 20 pounds after running third in the first leg of the Triple Tiara to a 106, if you're a believer, if you think it's true of this mark, then I think the Crawford stable would have found the ideal race for the filly to get a confidence back. But the judgment is up to the racegoer. The judgment is up to you, the valued racing fan, because it looks like the perfect race for her. But for me, it's just, we all give our opinions and we all have our own assessments of ratings, etc. She may well come through and win this. But I like the look of Guy Gibson, who I think is true of a 105 as a 3-year-old.
Well, that's exactly the point, Dees. I like number 6, Guy Gibson, as well. The biggest kicker for me is Blinkers, because I don't think he's quite put his heart and soul into it. He had no luck on Hollywoodbets Durbanville and the Golden Horseshoe when he ended up being flushed out deep and ran a length and a half to Sandringham Summit. In hindsight, he actually ran a lovely race. Not quite been at his best since. I thought his run in the Dingons was fair. I thought his run in the sales race was good to Purple Picture. There's good enough about Guy Gibson, but now with Blinkers, I think that'll bring him along. Also with Renee, I think what you need to consider is that she comes back from a long layoff, and as you say, her rating hike that she encountered after the Volkerbos Fillies Guineas, 20 pounds, that's a lot. And I've got the form in front of me. Lady of Power did well enough in the next 2 legs of the Volkerbos Triple Tiara, but sadly this season she's not quite beat the same filly. Feather Boa ran second. She's a top quality filly, but all in behind there was Bless My Stars, excellent filly. Miss Cool, of course, won a grade 2 before the Gauteng Fillies Guineas, but not much else. I'm not convinced it was the greatest Joburg crop of what are now 4-year-old fillies last season, and Renee ran close to the race of her life. She obviously confirmed that with a good run in the Volkerbos South African Oaks behind none other. But again, I think that she was tailor-made for that type of trip for number 5, Renee. So I think there are a number of reasons why, although her form looks good, I think there are disclaimers with what she ran against. So I'm with number 6, Guy Gibson, in this race. As you say, I think his rating's probably more true. I think that he's got there naturally, whereas Renee got there by, something had to run third, and obviously with the way that the numbers were all put together going into the race, hence the big penalty that she got. There are obviously a lot of horses here that have a bit of scope. I think Hotter Ruby's got something about him. I think Hawkbull's got something about him. But Guy Gibson, for now, more established, looks more feature race ready, looks more forward than the other 3-year-olds that he's got to encounter. And like I said, I think the blinkers, if they do the trick, Guy Gibson will come home lonely.
Just before I mention strike 3 for AC and Didi, first run being exposed against older horses. We're going to see the picture, become more clearer as the season progresses in the various centres around the country. Once these 3-year-olds start, stepping up against the quality older horses. But this horse, first run out of his comfort zone, he's been matched against the best of his generation. Alistair, when you have a look at the limited older horses here, he should have their measure.
Which horse are you talking about there, Dees?
Guy Gibson. I mean, when we look at him as a 3-year-old and as a 2-year-old now against, some of these older horses here.
Yeah, you know what, Dees, when jury's out at the Vaal on Thursday was another case in point, and there's a statistic that the NHA printed with 3-year-olds against older horses roughly a month ago, and I had a conversation with V. Moodley subsequent to a press release that he had, and he said, although there's been nothing at feature race level yet, and although he's not going out on a limb saying this is an unbelievably good crop of 3-year-olds, he's taking a bit of credit for giving credit to the handicappers and how they've rated the horses, the 3-year-olds, generously to give them a chance against their older contemporaries. It says the percentage of 3-year-olds against older horses that are winning and featuring in handicaps and in plate races of this caliber is higher than normal. So I think you got to back that up. And after that message came across to me, I've actually noticed that has got to be the case, because there've just been a few. And yesterday, like I said, jury's out 61.5 against older horses. Might have been MR68 level, but that's generally, or we've been trained to believe that that's not an easy task. And the 3-year-olds seem to be handling it.
Strike 3, that's it. Race number 5, horse number 6, Guy Gibson. Well, Alistair, we're certainly on the same frequency thus far. And this is race number 6, middle stakes, 1,800 meters. Number 1, Street Art, Hollywoodbets 4-1 into 3-1, 2 at 8-1. Number 6 on the horizon at 15-10. They got a short on this filly. Number 10 at 8-1. I'll tell you what, if we go strike 4, and then that's it, I'm going to actually stop here now, because this filly, Alistair...
I need you for the Grand Heritage.
Yeah, that race is more a quartet race than anything. For me, it's the Glory Bet backing the winner in the Grand Heritage, but we'll come to that, next race. This filly on the horizon, Alistair, I must firstly just compliment all the owners and Lucky, because we know that she started off her career as a 4-year-old, and the weight, the patience, and the belief in your horse is certainly been worthwhile. Worthwhile is an understatement. It's actually been wow, because the way that she's been winning 1,400, 1,500 a mile, and carrying this low mass against this type of field. Lucky is a master tactician on the way he places his horses, not just about nominating. And I think he's found the perfect race for her here, although she's in mixed company. 53.5 on her back, the way she's been winning. She's positioned there. She loves the course. And there should be no issue with her going the 1,800 meter trip. What's your thoughts?
So I'm going to let everyone in on a little bit of a secret that obviously I shared with the office after On the Horizon's last win.
Yes.
And I said I wouldn't want to be on her side next time, because I think now the handicap has got her. Gave her the £6, now up to a 90. But what I didn't expect Lucky Hoodalakis to do, and that's obviously without looking at the program ahead, was that she would go into a middle stakes where she would be well handicapped.
Correct.
So that makes me believe that On the Horizon may be able to reel off another one. So my angle here with On the Horizon is she either wins or runs totally out of the frame. It's hard to win 4 on the bounce. We know about the guidelines that the NHA adhere to. After a 4-year-old wins on debut, they generally don't give them a rating higher than X. I think they actually gave her a higher rating than what their guideline suggests after the first run. Remember, Sunshine Day's come out and done okay since being beaten by On the Horizon. She was probably the closest to Give Me Another since Give Me Another won her maiden. And then On the Horizon obviously went on, beat Queen of Camelot, and she had to win that. She was a good thing. And then third time out again, with her rating probably being below the curve, she had to come out and win again. So is she still above the handicapper? Possibly. Now this is the bigger league, as you say, taking on open company. But the way that Lucky's placed her could well propel her to another win. So all the time in the world for number 6 On the Horizon. But there are 2 horses who make me think in this race. They are number 1 Street Art and 10 George Handel. Street Art, of course, was expected to win the Betway Summer Cup Consolation. He didn't make it that far. Perfect Witness ended up winning that to frank the form that Street Art brought a race earlier. At the weight Street Art had Perfect Witness held. We'll never know if it was ever going to work out the way the paper showed it. But still, you'd have to believe that Street Art would have at least been a big contender with how that race turned out. Jason Gates takes the right big weight. He's in the similar conversation as Renee in that he got hammered for running a nice enough race in the Daily News 2000, 6.5 lengths to see it again, went from an 88 to a 103. That might have compromised him a few wins coming out of the Daily News 2000, but I think he's now close to the right type of race to win again. And then the source number 10, George Handel, there's something about him. He stayed on strongly on Betway Summer Cup Day. He cleared a few, and off a lightweight with Muziani and the irons, despite a not ideal draw. Number 10, George Handel's definitely not one with his legs tied up. So 6 On the Horizon, top choice, but like I said, she can't be a banker for me. 1 and 10, actually the only 2 dangers.
Alistair running for cover there with numbers 1 and 10, but just the way she's been winning, just the way she's making the opposition look ordinary, the fact that she broke through, had to be reloaded, showing her how professional she is as an athlete, and number 6 On the Horizon, to come through and still win in the manner that she did. I think lucky with the Larkers. This could be it, the way he's placed her. But Alistair's saying if you don't like number 6 On the Horizon, numbers 1 and 10 will be your cover. Well, we got strike 3. I think we'll be pushing it if we go strike 4. Alistair suggesting 1, 6 and 10 there, but I'll be firmly in the camp of horse number 6. Then on to the main event, the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage. It's over a distance of 1,475 meters, and you get 25 horses that are accepted to race. 2 scratchings this year, unfortunately, but we'll come to that now. And the betting is always value, value, and value for you, the racing fan. Number 8 at 8 to 1, and number 13 at 33 to 10. And I think that is it, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that is it. It's 10 to 1 and better the balance. 18 and 19 were the early card scratchings. So we got 23 go to post. It's a race that spells quartet. And if you get a piece of the action here, especially if you're beating number 13, Silent War. If you beat this in any of the exotics, or you beat this in the quartet, you are in for proper return on your investment here. It looks like a very tough race, Alistair, as it always is, but I can't make heads or tails of this. If I had to play a quartet, I said maybe for the show, you choose a horse, I choose a horse, and we go 2 horses roving with the field.
Okay, I'm happy with that because I've got a 25 to 1 shot that I actually think's a huge chance.
I hope it's not my horse.
I hope it's not your horse either, Dees, because then this is going to be a pathetic reading of the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage. It'll be quicker than any other race we've done. I like last year's winner too much, number 9, Duke of Sussex. Is it the same horse?
No, it's not. I like funky music.
Okay, well, there's our quartet, double float, 9 and 20 by the field. And if we, as you say, if we do beat Silent War, what are we, 25 to 1 and 20 to 1 with the 2 horses that we've got. So even if we do get Silent War in the first 4, we're still going to be making a profit. So this is my reasoning with Duke of Sussex. His last 3 runs have come at Turfentine. He loathes Turfentine. He absolutely despises Turfentine. He does not like to travel. He's a different horse at the Vaal. He won this race last year. Who did he beat? He beat Dice. Dice has gone on and shown, what's his rating now? 130 is Dice. So read nothing into the last 3 runs. It's not that he's lost his way and lost his confidence and whatever the case may have been. He's always run like that at Turfington. He just cannot pick up his feet running away from home. Craig Sankey's on board for Lucky Hoodalakis. This horse has won the race before. There's no reason why he can't win it again, because he comes into this race with a similar type of form numbers going into the race. If you have a look at last year's race, and I just had a look at Wafif as a case in point, because I think Wafif's got a fair amount of ability. And I said, right, so Wafif ran 2 lengths to Duke of Sussex in this race last year, and Wafif comes in 3 kilos worse off. So how on earth is a horse like Wafif, who ran in a grade 3 last time out and has been tested in races like the World Sports Betting Jubilee, when running second to Puerto Manzano, on pure numbers, how on earth is Wafif going to beat Duke of Sussex? Because I actually give Wafif an outside place chance at 40-1. So I'm keen on the son of Duke of Marmalade. I think he's going to go close to winning if he doesn't win, and I think he's got every chance of being the first back-to-back Grand Heritage winner. A race that's been in existence for nearly a decade. Obviously, replaced the Great Emerald Cup, which was a lovely weekend away, which used to be held in September. And I think the best news for the contractors who paint the statue at the entrance to the Vaal is that if Duke of Sussex were to win, they won't have to repaint the silks this year, because I think that must be quite a difficult job, because it's a lovely statue as you walk into the Vaal, and one of the quirks of this race is that the winner has its silks painted onto the statue.
Well, I'm just looking at the cost calculator when it comes to these bets, and they don't have one for more than 20 runners. So that is where I have a problem now, because I'm just going to read out what I've seen here. If it's 2 horses rowing, that's a double floating banker with 18 runners, which is the maximum that this bet calculator just gone to. It's 3,672. That's a double floater with 18 runners. So just look it up. I mean, you just have to go and give your sum of money. We know how fractional betting works. It's the easiest thing in the world. Whatever you got in your pocket, give it to the operator, call out your bet, or mark it on your bet mark card, and whatever amount you want to play, it's to a fraction. I mean, it's to 0.1, 0.7, or whatever it is. That's how it works. It's not, you don't have to get the exact amount. So double floating bankers here. And I think Alistair could be on the mark here with his assessment of number 9, Duke of Sussex. I'm just going with a solid horse, a horse that I think will run his heart out. He races up handy. The fact that he's won 3 on the bounce suggests that the ability is there. And I know that the 4 kgs off was a big help for him last time out. But there's no claim this time round. But with 52.5 kgs on his back, well, I think he is a massive runner. Yeah, number 20, Funky Music, at a big price. So 9 and 20, the roving bankers by the field. Good luck in your bets, and good luck trying to survive the exotics. Race number 8, 1475. What is this? This is the Consolation, World Sports Betting Heritage Consolation Race. And how they're betting here. Number 1 at 6-1. Number 2 at 5-1. Then we go on to number 3 at 18-10. 5 Zaboma is at 8-1. 9 at 8-1. And 10 is at 11-2. Well, we did speak highly about that horse, Sky Gibson, earlier on today. And a similar type of profile is number 3, the Africa House. I think the first question will be, Alistair, is this, a fair price, 18-10, or you'd expect the horse to shorten race time or drift?
I think he might even shorten come race time. I think it's a fair price, Dees, because although Good Counsel's first run for the yard was superb, I still think he's going to win races over further than 14.75. I think number 2, River Quiraris, I think was well placed when winning at her anti-penultimate start, although she's run okay. I think off a 95, that might be a little bit harsh for number 2, River Quiraris. There are a few horses that I actually give chances to. My play here wouldn't necessarily be revolve around the 2 horses I'm about to give, but just expect these two horses, or one of the two horses, run to the first four. The first one might not surprise you. That's number 9, Willow Express, who I always go for. I think this is a better trip for him. Chase Morjan takes a ride, nice lightweight for Sean Terry. Although he hasn't won in nearly 2 years, number 9, Willow Express, been on my radar for long enough. I think his rating is just about competitive now for him to strike. And the other one is number 8, Stormy Winter, who's an absolute Vaal straight specialist. And at the price, I'm not going to let Stormy Winter run loose. But can they beat this progressive up-and-coming 3-year-old? His run in the Grand Beck was actually a lovely run from a bad draw, dropped in, fastest 400 to finish. Last time in the Dingons, would he be my idea of the Dingons winner? No. So if he's not, and I still think he's of fair ability, then this is the type of race for him, the World Sports Betting Consolation. In fact, I think he's better than just a Heritage Consolation winner. Richard Ferree's back on board for Sean Terry. Probably the right type of distance for a son of Water Winter out of a trippy mare. May have just stretched him a bit too far, over a mile last time out. I think he's at the right type of place at the right type of time, off a nice weight, 54 kilos. I like number 3, the Africa House. Price is fair, and I'd expect some support to come.
Well, that is called support. We are going to support you. You've been on my side with a few runners earlier on, and I have to agree, I was leading towards this horse, but I wasn't entirely convinced, Alistair, but you made a strong case for him. Number 3, the Africa House in race number 8, could be a way to end off Jackpot 1 with a banker at 18-10. And then we move along to the lucky last. Now, things are going according to plan here, and you're running into the 9th race. Well, all the best, because I couldn't figure this one out. 1,400 meters, merit weighted 72 for the fillies and mares. Time of recording, number 2, 6-1, 5 at 7-1, 6 at 28-10, 7 at 8-1. 10 is going to be my selection in the race, Alistair, at 8-1. And then it is double figures, the balance. I think I'm going to kick off with a horse here that you created some excitement for us when she last ran, and that was Bad Hair Day. 66-1. I said that wouldn't last after the show. It didn't. Into 20-1. And I must say, and I have this discussion all the time, as much as we are all watching the first horse past the post for betting, it's so important, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because Pierre Stradham on that horse called Time is Ticking just shaded this filly. I think it must have been a quarter of a length or something stupid for 4th. Because if you took the cover for places, you must have been sick, because I was. But that was a good find, Alistair. You gave us some excitement up until the final 200 meters in that race.
Yeah, a little bit of a cheap thrill. Sadly, it didn't go according to plan with the half-sister to Bavarian Beauty. I think if we're going to discuss this race, we're going to be in it forever. So I'm going to give you a few horses for trifectas and quartets, and there are quite a few horses that ping in this race. So just take note of them. Number 2, Lady Elliot. I think this is the right distance. I don't think she gets a mile. I think coming back to 1,400, good chance. Heavyweight, bit of a problem. 3, Golden Aspen, as I sit here now, is not pinging with me, but if there is rain on race day or rain before race day, then number 3, Golden Aspen, becomes a big chance. The horse who pings most, especially if the draws are going to be beneficial towards the inside, is number 5 on the card, Rose Tinted. 3rd run after a rest. The first run back was a lovely run when quickening nicely. Last time a little bit flat, but I think she'll run better here, the daughter of Flower Alley. So for me, she's got to be on the radar. Your horse, number 10, Summer of Dreams, most definitely went to the front last time, now gets the services of Pierre Stradham. That's got to be a big benefit. Stradham and Adamson teamed up with the winner on Thursday in the form of Biofarmer. 12 run for Isla, needed her last run badly. She'll be better with that run under the belt. Don't expect her to win, but definitely going to improve. But the horse who pings just as much, if not most, second most in this race, is number 13, Beguiling, who I also liked a lot last time, and she was racing without cover towards the inside down the Vaal mile straight. Look at the money for her, 25-1 down to 4-1, and I just think the race did not pan out for Beguiling last time out. She's back 16 days after being reported not striding out by the jockey. There's been a winner out of the formula. It was a second-place horse trained by Mike de Kock, who won under Raymond Danielson on Tuesday, whose name escapes me for a moment, and Arun Chudder's Allied Steel Road colours. But all the same, the form's worked out well. 13 Beguiling worth another roll of the dice for me. So if we're in trouble, and yes, I'm leaving out the favourite, number 6, Boom Boom, if we're in trouble, that's going to be my quartet. I'm just going to be loading up with numbers 2, possibly 3 if there's rain, 5, 10, 12, 13, and 14. You might need a couple of other numbers just to make sure. So if there are any names or bit of form that might appeal to punters, don't be afraid to throw them in. But I actually think as far as the betting race is concerned, by fillies and mares 72 standards, I've seen far, far worse races that just where nothing makes appeal. There are a few horses here that we can work with.
Okay, it could be a nice quartet to catch with the numbers that Alistair has given you. Just by the way, Alistair, when you bump into Philip, I mean, do you refer to him as Labashe or Labaskachni?
Well, we're South African, so it's got to be Labaskachni. But I think he now he's resigned to the fact that he's Australian and everyone just can't say Labaskachni. So I think he tells people just to call him Labashe. Don't even embarrass yourselves.
Yeah, that name during the Cricket World Cup. Okay, number 13, Beguiling. The money was there last time out, and Alistair mentioned could be worth following. But I'm thankful that he's given a mention to my filly, number 10, Summer of Dream, that goes into everything. So, Alistair, you mentioned that you've bypassed the exotics for respective reasoning, but you've gone with a double. What's the double?
The double at race 5, number 6, Guy Gibson, a 3-year-old against older horses. On to race 8, number 3, the Africa House, a 3-year-old against older horses. So that's how I think we're going to make a little bit of money. You can't tip a pick 6 on this card, unfortunately, despite the evidence of potentially being a couple of bankers along the way. But where there are no bankers, you're just going to need tons of horses. Honestly, I think the plates accumulated easily the bet of the day. Regardless, I think that's going to pay good money. You need to put your thinking caps on in a couple of races, but I think that's the beauty of a day like this. And as you say, it's a bit of a brag post if you catch some of the exotics on World Sports Betting Grand Heritage Day. It's a lovely day to be a winner.
Okay, it's a good double, races 5 and 8 that Alistair suggested. I just want to add to that because, as I mentioned, we've had 4 strikes during our preview. We'll just add race 2, number 4, French Duchess, and race 4, number 3, Captain Hindsight, and we'll make that a Yankee then with Guy Gibson and Africa House, because Alistair was slightly on the fence with the filly number 6 on the horizon in race number 6. So adding race 2, number 4, French Duchess, and of course Captain Hindsight that comes up in race number 4. Yeah, that's at race number 4. So 2 more runners to add and possibly play a Yankee. And if that double arrives, well, you just need 1 more to arrive in the Yankee, and then you got combinations of 3 going into everything. Who knows? Maybe all 4 could win, and it could be a handsome payday. Alistair, as always, fantastic chatting and catching up. And Saturday, the 9th of December, wish the racing fans all the best. Thank you for your time, Alistair.
Thanks, Deez. Always a pleasure. To all the punters, hope it's a lovely weekend ahead. Obviously, we've got day 3 of the Cape Summer Festival on Sunday at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, featuring the Cape Merchants. There's a horse there for you. That's Justin State's horse. I'm sure Graham Hawkins won't let it run loose. Call to Unites in race number 5. You won't get much of a price, but I think that horse has got something about it.
Yep, some quality racing will come up on Sunday at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Well, it is Saturday, the 9th of December, where we in Vereniging at the Vaal. It's a World Sports Betting Grand Heritage that we've just previewed. To you, the valued racing fan, it looks like a wonderful card for you to have a go and possibly try and catch a few of the exotics. Have a blast, find all the winners, make a huge profit, and until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.